Hey there and welcome back to the channel. Today is another behind the scenes. I was asked by performers Skye and Nick to come and grab some promotional videos for a new performance that they are putting together. So we shot this at Picture Perfect Studios in Dandenong South, and we were going through various different staged shots primarily for marketing. So there's a couple of different looks that we were looking for. This one was their first one, which was sort of I guess more of a romantic type setup. Skye had just sort of gotten out of bed, messy hair, wearing a man's suit and all the rest of it. They were predominantly going through and suggesting what photos that they were looking for. I would then be suggesting subtle differences and changes to the poses to get what they were looking for. And then coming back and showing them the images that I had on the back of the camera, and then we could go through and we could change it up, mix it up, do some that worked, some that didn't. Some of the poses you can see behind the scenes didn't really work the way we wanted to, even though it's a good idea to try all sorts of different things. It's just the way it goes. So Nick actually does a lot of like circus performance, as you can see here. He was lifting Skye up and doing some various poses and all the rest of it. We did have a problem when Skye was up that high of not going over the edge of the backdrop. So we sort of had to try and keep things a little bit lower. So we were trying all sorts of different poses and things like that. We were using studio strobes, so you can see left and right we had the two strip boxes. So the strip boxes were giving me basically rim lighting or hair lighting. At the front, which is just out of shot, we also had another two studio strobes with large square soft boxes on them as well. This is where we went for a costume change. This is part of their burlesque act that they are putting together. So Skye Medusa is a fabulous burlesque performer, and you've probably seen her in a lot of behind the scenes for various shoots. This was sort of, I guess she was trying to convince Nick to be her boyfriend, whatever. So it was sort of it's a bit of a comedy, but it's very intense, very dramatic. There was a bit of a knife involved, you can see where she's sort of threatening him. So this is part of this performance that they're putting together. So I saw this shot in my head. I thought it'd be really great for Nick to just walk off with the chair, and then he went, hey, I can do more than just walk off with it. I can balance it. As I said, circus performer. How cool was that? So they were just trying different poses, moving around different scenes, settings, all the rest of it. This sort of mermaid dress that Skye had gave her limited movement, and I've chopped her off here, but Nick was holding her sort of over her head. Then Skye went and had another, well, they both got changed, and this is sort of more of a tango look that she was looking for. And I thought that this would actually be really cool as a workshop. So I'd love to sort of work this into a future workshop. So let me know what you think. But I thought this was very, very cool with the red dress and the poses. And it wasn't so much dancing per se, but it was staged dance moves. So we were looking for that drama, that attitude, the whole sort of romantic, dramatic that is the tango, as far as I know in my head. I can't say that I know that much about different ballroom dancing, but you know, from what I've seen in movies and things like that, that I really sort of wanted that whole sort of dynamic pose. And they were doing a little bit of Latin, it was street Latin, and then Skye was doing a bit of dancing for me as well, capturing that up. We did have a funny moment where she was wearing a bun over her hair and the rose, and when she spun around it just sort of fell out, so that was quite funny. But yeah, we did some dance moves and all the rest of it. Then Nick tried to do another lift, so this one was again just holding her up. We still just kept continuing on with this tango style. We had these roses that, you know, that very cheesy movie scene where you get, you know, the guy's holding the rose in his mouth and all the rest of it. So we were doing some really good flips and things like that. So we were doing this jump that happened very quickly. We had to do that a few times. Then Skye went and got changed yet again. And this was a shorter skirt for trying to do all those dips and flips and things like that that we were doing. So there was some more sort of circus type poses that we were trying to do. Nick and Skye have been working together a bit on putting all these poses together for this upcoming performance that they're working on. And we were discussing what was working better, hand poses, movement, things like that. And it's really interesting to watch, you know, how they sort of got into these moves. I've never really done a huge amount with circus performers before, so they kept coming and having a look at what we were getting on the back of the camera, and had some sort of mood board photos that we were referencing as well. And we were going through and making minute changes, whether it was to the position of the hands, position of the feet, and other things, just to think, right, okay, we need to fix this up, or we need to fix that. So just to get the shots, there was quite a lot of discussion happening backwards and forwards. Some things that work really well to stand and watch or on video don't necessarily translate terribly well into photos, but others work just incredibly well. And they had to hold the pose for a moment or two as well. And then I bought my mini smoke fogger thing, so I wanted to get a couple of shots, just some close-up shots using that as well, and it was just dissipating really quickly. So we just wanted to get a few shots which were sort of up close, and we were just playing around trying different looks. I always love in this type of shoot, and it was only like a 3-hour session, to work in as many different sort of looks and experimental things as we can get. So Nick was really great. He knew what would work, what didn't work. He would come up with all these suggestions. As I said, we were looking at the back of the camera and going, okay, that worked, that didn't work, all the rest of it. So it is really cool. But I think that this would translate really well into a workshop, especially the first section where we had Skye in the white shirt and also the tango sort of element. Technically, I know it's probably not real tango. I think it would really work quite well. So just going through, that was pretty much it. We thought it was fabulous, gave each other a high five, and that was the end of it.